Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to yet another business conversation at the Association of African Startups. And today we have a very distinguished guest, Dr. Henrietta Onwuegbuzie. But before I introduce her and the topic, what does scalability mean to a business owner, or what should scalability, or what does the word scalability mean to a business owner? Like it's our culture at the Association of African Startups, we start everything with a word of prayer. So please join me for a quick and short prayer. Our Father and our God, we thank you. Ancient of days, we worship you. I am that I am, we give you glory. We ascribe all glory, all honor, all power to you now and forever in Jesus' name. Lord, we ask
Amen.
that you take control of this conversation. We ask, Lord, that you speak through the speaker. And at the end of the day, let your will and your will alone be done. In Jesus' name we have prayed. Amen and amen.
Amen.
Welcome, everybody. Welcome, welcome. So I'm going to quickly read the bio of our speaker. We are so honored to have her here at the Association of African Startups. Thank you so much, ma, for doing this, for making time out of your busy schedule to do this with us. Thank you so much. God bless you, ma. Dr. Henrietta Onwuegbuzie is an associate professor of
Henrietta.
entrepreneurship at
It's
Henrietta.
Henrietta. Henrietta.
Henrietta. Henrietta.
Henrietta. Yes.
Henrietta. I apologize.
Henrietta. Okay.
Yes, that's what I said. Dr. Henrietta Onwuegbuzie.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Onwembuzie.
Apo- Ma
It's okay. Go ahead. Go ahead. It's okay.
is an associate professor of entrepreneurship at Lagos Business School and a certified management consultant. She is also an IFCA certified management trainer. Dr. Onwuegbuzie is passionate about economic development and socioeconomic transformation in Nigeria and Africa, and has initiated the creation of over 100 profitable, impact driven businesses through her work at Lagos Business School, where she leads sessions in entrepreneurship on the MBA and executive programs. She's currently the director of the Business Innovation Accelerator and project director for Impact Investment Initiatives. She was recently conferred the Excellence Award in Entrepreneurship and Impact Investing and appointed a distinguished fellow at the Global African Leadership Council. She has an MSc with honors in economics and business administration from the University of Navarre, Spain, and MBA from Lagos Business School, Nigeria, and a PhD in management and entrepreneurship from Lancaster University, UK. Dr. Onwuegbuzie is a life member of Beta Gamma Sigma Group, which admits only top performers in the top 5% of schools worldwide. She is also one of the first African visiting faculty at Yale's School of Management in the United States and has been invited to speak at top business schools like Oxford Said Business School UK and IESE Business School in Spain. Prior to joining the LBS faculty, she managed educational projects for women development in different states in Nigeria and subsequently worked in the banking industry with key responsibilities for blue chip companies and multinationals in the corporate banking sector. She sits on the board of a number of companies and has executive consulting experience spanning projects at the state level to conglomerates and SMEs in various industries. In 2015, she was conferred a certificate of recognition in New York by LEAP, a UN working group under the Principles of Responsibility Management Education sector in recognition of her groundbreaking work in developing change accelerators. She has presented award-winning papers of various international conferences on entrepreneurship and sustainable development, winning the best paper in some of these conferences. She has been rated top 4%. She has rated top 4% among Nigerian top executives in the education management industry. On a voluntary basis, she mentors aspiring and established entrepreneurs. Her current focus is on the development of impact driven entrepreneurs for national transformation, as well as preparing women for next level leadership through a program that strengthens women's skills in leadership management and wealth creation. It's a pleasure and a honor to have you here, Ma. Thank you so much, Ma, for doing this with us today.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, Ma. So, like we always do at our conversation, we just ask basic questions or some questions regarding the subject matter, which is scalability, and asking for your input as a professional and an expert. Ma. So, our very first question is, what is a scalable business?
Okay, so I like to keep things simple. A scalable business is just a business that can increase in volume of transactions. Okay, so it's just growth. Okay, so a baby is a scalable human being. And then you can look at scalability in different dimensions. You can look at scalability in terms of impact or financial returns or impact on society, impact on the environment, and impact on financial returns. And so it really so basically when people refer to scalability, they're looking at scalability in terms of growth. Okay, so yeah, so a business that can grow. And if you're doing
Mm,
a positive thing, you will do more positive. If you're doing a negative thing, you will do more negative. So just growth, increase in transactions, increase in volume, and increase in the impact you're making.
Thank you so much, Ma. I love how you simplified it. Our next question is, what is the difference between business growth and business scaling? Because sometimes people don't know whether there's a difference, or even if there's a difference, they don't seriously understand it. So, what, Ma, would you say is the difference between business growth and business scaling, or is there no difference at all?
I don't think there's a difference. Typically, scaling is like a technical buzzword, while growth will be like what's because as you're scaling, you're growing. I mean, growth leads to scaling. If your customer base is not increasing, if it's not growing, so like asking what's the difference between business increase and business growth. Okay, so some people might have technical difference that they wish to ascribe to it. Typically in academia, if you're writing a paper, you would write the definition of the word, with what definition you're referring to for the word you're using. So where I'm concerned, growth and scale are typically the same because a business that has scaled is a business that has grown.
Mm, thank you. Thank you so much, Ma. So there's really no difference. It's just
Big.
two different kind of words meaning the same thing. Thank you. So that our audience is not confused as to
Well,
what
as I
concept.
Yes, like I said, some people may want to distinguish it, but in that case, they would need to define it. But it's like it doesn't mean it is that way. Okay, but I choose to use synonyms. It's pretty much like when they started talking about sustainability. I made it a very complicated thing. It's a very commonsensical thing. Even those who don't go to school understand that I want whatever I am using to last. Okay, if I'm planting on in a field, I don't want that land to stop yielding fruit. So it means I have to rotate the kinds of crops that I am using so that I take different nutrients at each time. Okay, so sometimes we complicate matters, by splitting hairs and all of that. But typically, growth and scalability are synonyms for the same thing.
Mm, thank you so much, Ma. So our next question is, what mistakes do African business owners make that impede their business scalability?
So to start with, they're quite a number. So first is rather than start small and grow gradually, many times people want to start like like the established businesses that they see. They want to start big.
Mm,
And that's quite bad for a number of reasons. First is because typically most people don't have the money to start big. So it makes them turn to fundraising as opposed to starting small and growing gradually and thereby attracting funding to them as opposed to going out to look for the funds. Okay.
mm,
Second is that even when you have the money and you start big, if you don't have the experience, okay, so if you look at yourself today, you find that the experience you've had from primary school to secondary school to university is helping you as an adult today. So, assuming one had a lot of money and just went into a big business, I mean, that's one of the reasons why many second or third generation people kill the big destroy the wealth that has been created ahead of them, because they were just put into it because you are the son of the owner, as opposed to somebody who understands the business or has grown through the ranks. Okay, so when you start big, because you don't really have experience in the business, it is easy for that person to fail. Okay, a business is a science. It's like somebody who goes into cook. You can only cook successfully if you have learned to cook. So you
Mhm.
can't just suddenly say, okay, just give me all the ingredients. I'm going to make one complicated type of soup, for example. God help those who will eat it. Okay. But if you're, before you can go into the kitchen successfully, you must have gone through a training. And this is why our people usually have what you call apprenticeship before they're given their freedom to start their own business. By the time they're starting their own business, they would have gathered experience during their years of apprenticeship, learning all the different aspects of the business, from arranging the store to attending to customers, to attending to suppliers, to knowing the kinds of products customers want, to understanding the mechanism of pricing, okay, to also knowing when to know the supply chain management, to know when to order, how to preserve, okay, how to keep your books. So all these dimensions of business are learned before they start their own business. So when they say, if for example, Igbo people are born with business in their blood, it's not true. They are trained to succeed as business people because they've gone through a training which is called apprenticeship. Okay.
Mm. Thank you so much, Ma. I like how you explain it, Ma. Most times, most people just want to grow and just want to start, like you said, like those big brands that they see because they are churning in some specific amount of income and they just believe that yes, I have grown to that extent and I think I know it and I want to do it the way they do it and without having that much experience, like you've also outlined. Because most people truly don't even understand some things in business or some understand how to scale before even saying, oh, I want to scale. Like you rightly said, most people don't even um understand some basic concepts in their business that they've not really learned it to um make it scalable.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Thank you so much, Ma. Like they have not really learned it. They don't really understand it. They have not been able, they cannot even replicate it and they want to scale. It's very, very,
Mm-hmm.
very, very funny how they
Mm-hmm.
engage with such kind of
Yes.
mindset. So our next question, Ma, is what measures should business owners put in place to ensure their business scales?
Okay, so the first thing I would say is make sure you're solving a problem.
Mm,
Okay. If you're going into a business to just make money, you're going to have an exploitative mindset. You're not going to be thinking about the customers. But if you go into a business with a problem solving mindset, or an impact driven mindset, or a solution driven mindset, they're all synonyms meaning different things, but it's all the same. I see a problem I want to solve. Okay, so for example, when mobile phones came into the country, they succeeded beyond their wildest dreams. Why? Because Nigerians were already thirsty for communication. You would pay
mm,
Nitel and you would wait 2 years and you still would not get a line. And whenever you got the line, you would be so grateful to them as though they were doing you a favor after making you wait for so long. So, mobile phones were a solution to an existing problem. And so it was not difficult. People were willing to pay. Like I tell people, your business idea remains an idea and it's not an opportunity until people are willing to pay for it. So if you create a solution to a pain point or a problem that you're experiencing in your environment, people are automatically going to be willing to pay for it. So for instance, imagine that in your estate, maybe uh, most of the children in the estate go to the same school, and maybe you've chosen to be a housewife. You can decide, okay, you know what, I'll do school run for people, and I'll even do after school services where I bring them home, give them lunch, do their assignments with them until their parents come and pick them up from my house. And you put a fee to that. That's a business. And then you announce it on your maybe estates, if you have a WhatsApp group, announce it there. You'll be surprised at how people are willing to pay. And then you can say, okay, if you leave your child with me till dinner time, this is the extra fee. Some people who work till late will gladly, pay for that service. Okay. Some
mm,
will even say, how much can I pay you so that when I'm coming, the child has already been showered and put in their pajamas, so I just take the child straight to bed. You know. Some who are traveling may say, "Okay, please, would you like to keep? Can you keep the children for at least 3 days?" Okay, so you're going to find the business growing because you've hit a very very big need, a big pain point, for them. Or somebody can decide, okay, with all these people who are leaving the country, Jackpot syndrome, there must be quite a number of aged parents left without care. I may decide, okay, I have this property, I can easily modify it to be, a care home where I can take care of these people, and you can advertise it on, social media, and boom, you're going to find people who are saying, oh my goodness, oh, especially if you show the picture of where they will stay. When I can keep my parents here until I come back and all of that, they'll be well taken care of. Okay. I know a young man, all he does is go to visit different people in their homes. And then on the days they have to go to the hospital, he organizes a car, brings the car, takes them to the hospital, accompanies them to see the doctor, makes sure they get all the medications recommended, and takes them back home, where they're handed back to the steward who takes care of them. And every week or every day, depending on each person's hospital regimen, he goes to pick them. And the children who are abroad are only too grateful and are willing to pay anything they ask for him to continue to provide that service. So really, the best ideas come from the pain points that we observe. And you will find that those people who feel that the service is good will tell their friends, and before you know what is happening, through referrals, you're growing. You're getting more and more people asking you to do the same thing. And of course, as you're growing, you need to also employ people. So the business is scaling because you're providing a service that people want and are therefore willing to pay for. So you're both profitable. So the key thing I would say for anybody who wants to get a scalable business or even a successful business, well, a business is not successful if it's not growing. So a successful business is one that is scaling anyway. Is to make sure you're solving a problem or that you're meeting a need, okay, or that you want to make an impact. So I'll give you another example. I'm very, very concerned about the level of youth unemployment. So for Africa, Nigeria in particular, having a young population is a big advantage. But that population, for it to become an asset, needs to be educated. And there's so many of them on the streets. And for me, there's so many ways that one can educate these people. Uh, to start with, all the area boys harassing people, I could easily say, okay, let's make them security agents. How do we do that? Let's train them formally. They already have street wisdom. Train them formally. Okay, teach them according to give them formal security training. Okay, teach them ethics, etiquette. Okay, personal hygiene. Give them uniforms. Everybody's looking for security. Almost organizations, whether they're hospitals or schools or banks or oil companies, are looking for security guards. Okay, put them there. Once they start earning a good salary and they can rent a decent house, marry a wife, start having children, they too will want a better society. Okay. Take another example. Train people to be good drivers and good mechanics. So when you hire them, they're both good drivers and good mechanics. Okay. Obviously, you're going to pay them well because they've been trained, and also maybe, of course, I believe that the basic thing to add to people when you're training them is a mind reset. Teach them etiquette, teach them ethics, teach them personal hygiene. So it goes along with the skills that they have, and you have a fantastic asset right there. And people are willing to pay for that kind of quality of person to work for them, or for the organization. So again, those are more jobs. Now, Nigerian fashion is out of this world. Okay, I no longer have any wish to buy clothes abroad because what we do here is so fantastic, which means that there's an export market for this. Okay, imagine having a tailoring academy where you train thousands of men and women to tailor, and then you can export our African designs and fashions. By the time, I mean, we've not even gone into things like a construction skills academy, training academy, or even agri-business, packaging, warehousing, logistics. All these things create jobs. The truth is, if we're really thinking, we will need to go and employ people because everybody in Nigeria is employed. So there are a lot of opportunities to create employment. We're just not connecting the dots and make money. There's so much to export in this country. The lemongrass that grows like a wild bush is exportable. The bitter leaf that we take for granted is exportable. Bitter cola is exportable. Cola nut is exportable. Cassava leaves are exportable. There's some countries. I mean, I met a guy that exports cassava leaves that we throw away and burn here. Gary is exportable. It's just incredible. I went for an exhibition the other day. I saw sweetened cocoa Gary. I bought it. I haven't tasted it, but I'm looking forward to it. But the point is, there's just so much that can be done. So scaling, if you want a successful business that can scale, just make sure you're meeting a need or solving a problem.
Mhm. Thank you so much, Ma, and thank you so much for the examples. Although this was not part of the questions that we prepared, I just wanted to ask this for just asking and understanding. Like you said, a business that is scalable should be a business that should meet a need, which I agree with. But if, for example, people have not yet seen it as a need, should that business still just work on creating awareness instead of scaling? Let me give an example. For example, now if we tell African entrepreneurs to focus more on instead of just thinking about profit and profit, thinking about a sustainable business that would impact the growth of the African economy, right? Which is something that we do at heart, and people yet have not yet seen that as a need. Would you then advise that kind of organization should start thinking of scaling, or should still focus on creating awareness regarding that need? And what would you say, ma'am?
Okay, so the truth is, for scaling to happen, it's the market that drives your scale. So as demand grows, the reason why Microsoft or Amazon are billion-dollar businesses is not because they just grew the business. It's because the demand for their services and their products increased. So it then means that if nobody wants you, you're not going to scale. You can't scale because if you like scale, but you're going to be run into a loss because nobody's buying what you're producing. So scaling is usually has a pull effect. The market is pulling you to grow
Mm,
because demand is growing. Okay. A good example will be Zoom. When Zoom started, not even his wife really believed in him until it was COVID that made all of us see. Because I still remember people sending me messages about connecting via Zoom, and I was thinking, please, why should we use Zoom when Skype is so simple to connect? And I just used to, and they would send a code and all kinds of things. And I would think how complicated, because I was already used to Skype, and Skype was so user friendly, So, but Zoom didn't give up because he knew he didn't build it just to make money. He built it because I guess he foresaw the need for people to be able to have meetings from different countries online. Okay, and because he was building for a purpose, and see, that's why it's also important to be purpose driven. He didn't give up, and then the opportunity came for everybody to realize that, hey, this is the platform that has the most features for what we need, for a meeting, or or for a conference. And so boom, he suddenly became very, 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 very big. So the truth is, if you're going to be successful in business, value is a money magnet. Those who go for money first will not grow as much as those who go for value first. So it seems logical that you should go into business to make money. But the truth is that if you look at the biggest entrepreneurs, whether it is Elon Musk or Bill Gates or Warren Buffett, who is the biggest stockbroker in the world, most successful stockbroker in the world, or stock player in the world, or even Bill Gates, said Mark Zuckerberg, they all had a purpose for their inventions. Microsoft wanted to make people more creative. Apple wanted to give people an excellent product, okay, that would help their creativity also. Even WhatsApp wanted to help people communicate at no cost. Facebook wanted to help people connect. So they were not people. They didn't even foresee how wealthy they would become, but they were passionate about solving a problem. So, and created something of great value that everybody wanted. So it was the demand for their products and services that made them scale. It's like slot in Nigeria. You find that he says wherever they go, they thank them, they welcome them. Hey, thank you for coming, because people want phones, and they're not that many people providing quality phones. So they thank them when they go to a place. It doesn't mean they will not make their money, but they're also they're providing a great service. Okay. So that's the way it is. So you have to be that kind of person that if you're not in the market will miss you. I mean, who can, I'm sure we can't even imagine WhatsApp not being in the market. WhatsApp had a blip at some point this earlier this year, maybe like 3 months ago, and the whole world was talking about it for days. Just a
Hmm.
temporary blip, not up to an hour, and the whole world almost came down. So the question is, are you the kind of person that when you come to the market, people are happy that you're there, or when you disappear, people are looking for you? If you're not that kind of, if you're not given that kind of product or service, then the chances of being able to scale will be difficult. And
Hmm.
then even in the midst of when you have many substitutes, okay, you could say, okay, well, I'm not the only person doing paint. You've got to ask yourself, so what dissatisfies people, for example, with the paint they currently use? It could be the smell, the odor. You can say, okay, you know what? I'm going to make odorless paint. Or better still, after making odorless paint, I can make fragrance paint. And I can choose the perfume fragrances that most people like and say, okay, you know what? Choose the fragrance you want and I'll fragrance your paint, and that makes you stand out. Okay, I'm going to make quick drying paint, so you don't have to wait for 3 days. Within 4 hours, your paint is dry. Okay, or 4 hours of painting your house, you can move in without any accidents. Okay, that's an advantage. Okay, or again, you could say, okay, for my paint to stand out, I'm going to make my paint insect repelling, but safe for humans. So if you use my paint, you never need to buy insecticide. No fly, no mosquito, no cockroaches will be in your house. That's still paint, but you have a competitive advantage. Now, what's driving my thinking is not that I am so clever. Okay, I'm just thinking about what are the common pain points. Okay, um, smelly odor. Most people that get sick with the smell of paint. We can make it odorless or make it fragranced. Um, Houses burn down. What if my paint has fire repellent in it, so that once you paint your house with my paint, you can never suffer a fire because once it touches the wall, it will go off. So these are exciting things. I don't know what people, I mean, people can, those who are in the paint industry, they incorporate these things. They will definitely have people move to their brands, okay, or be willing to pay a higher premium because of the value they're adding. So once you keep in your mind that value is a money magnet, it's going to be easy for you to understand that to create value, you've got to be doing something that people need or want, okay, can impact lives. So one of the richest men in India is somebody who has brought education to the poorest of the poor. Okay, and because there are many, usually at the bottom of the pyramid, you have more people who want to be
Hmm.
educated, can't afford to go to school. So what they do is that they what's it called now? They can learn from a mobile phone. That's in their own language, and so they're learning English, maths, different things on their phones, you know, and this makes a difference to their lives. Okay, and of course, as more people buy the phones or the programs, the more money he makes. So really, people who are problem driven end up making money from making a difference, and those sort of ideas are easily scalable.
Hmm.
Back to you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Ma. I love how you explained it, that it's the market that determines how you scale. Most people
Yes.
do not understand that yet. It is not just your decision one day to wake up and say you want to scale. It's the market that determines it is time to scale. If you don't take anything from this conversation, please remember that. And also, doctor also taught us that you should also see value as money magnet. If you are not thinking value, then you should not expect money to come to you. Right. Thank you so much, Ma. And our final question, please, if you have questions for our guests, you can drop them and then we'll project them for her to answer. In your opinion, Ma, when should a business owner start considering scale? I think you answered that already. But just to start considering scaling. Is there any other thing apart from the one you just previously shared, Ma?
Yes. So for instance, you can find, so first of all, we've said that it's the market that determines whether you scale or not, because it's the growing demand for your product that makes you scale or not. But sometimes you can have growing demand and be tempted to open more than one branch to meet the
Hmm.
demand. Okay, because sometimes there's demand, but it's not wise for you to open a second branch until you have established your culture. So the things that allow success, because you can scale and crash, because
Yes.
you find that you are only in one place, you open a second branch, and those who are there are treating your customers badly or giving poor service, and of course, the brand begins to be killed. And when people say, "Oh, that brand, no, I had a terrible experience with them," don't go there. Meanwhile, you're where you originally started, and you were successful until you opened the second branch where your brand was being killed. So, for you to successfully replicate yourself all round, you have to be very conscious of the facts that you are the culture of your organization, and you should have transmitted that culture. You must have an onboarding process for each staff. Let them work with you. Let the ones who have worked more with you be the ones who go to the next place where you are not. Okay. Let there also be an incentive and targets that make me realize that, hey, if I hit this target, then there's something in it for me. Don't just send them there, but more importantly, an entrepreneur may feel, oh, let me go into entrepreneurship and be free of nasty bosses. But the truth is that uneasy, as the saying goes, uneasy lies the head that wears the crown. Everything you do determines the culture of your organization. So, the way you dress, how diligently you work, how honest you are with customers, how well you treat other staff, your staff are learning. So, you could still intentionally have times we talk about the culture and agree as to why this is an important culture, why integrity is important, why kindness is important, why mutual respect is important, while why being a high performing organization is important. So, but after you've agreed on all of those things, you must role model the behaviors you wish to see. And you must punish what you don't wish to see, whether it is by, I don't know, suspension or expulsion or whatever. So people understand the do's and don'ts. So before you think of expanding to a different, location where you can't be most of the time, make sure you have staff who have imbibed the culture and believe in it. So that when they go to the next place where you are not, they can replicate the same thing. Okay.
Mm.
So your question is very pertinent because sometimes the demand may be there, but you're not yet ready to address that demand effectively without killing your brand or moving too fast. Because sometimes also, when you move too fast, you can actually kill the brand and kill the business because you're not prepared for it. You
Mm.
know. So yeah.
Thank you so much, Doctor. I love that. I love that. Saying that sometimes the demand might be there, that the market is asking you to scale, but you as a brand, you are not yet ready to scale, and that lies with your culture. Because, like you said, Ma, there are so many people that move to other business locations, and then the brand just die out, either because the head office, which was what everybody wanted replicated, could not be replicated, and that becomes an issue. And then the same market that told you to scale will start telling you, why did you do it if you know you were not ready? So that you don't get blamed, it's
Mm-hmm.
best you seriously strategize and
You
then
consolidate.
analyze these things before you do it, right? Know that you
Mm-hmm.
are ready, ensure you're prepared for it, and you do it. Right. Thank
Mm-hmm.
you so much, Ma. If there are questions, please drop it. I also want to use this opportunity to invite us to our class, our free masterclass this month on the science of skill, where we'll be teaching scalability too. So if you want to be a part of it, you can be a part of it at www.tasafrica.org/registration. Please join. I'm not seeing any other question here because, like our guest speaker said today, she just likes things being simple, and so she simplified everything, and so there are no questions. I want to say thank you so much, Ma, for joining us today on this edition of our business conversation. Really explain the term scalability to us as business owners. We want to say a very, very big thank you. And on behalf of our president and other executives, we say a very, very, very big thank you, Ma. Thank you so much, Ma, for doing this with us today. Oh, I think it's our network. But if you want to be part of, yeah, I think it's our network. I'm trying to get. Thank you so much for being part of it. Again, if you want to be part of our masterclass for this month, which is on the science of scalability, where we're going to teach you how to scale the 7 levels of skill and how to get funding for scalability, you should join us at www.tasafrica.org/registration. Thank you and see you at our masterclass. Have a great day.